All right, Steve. So we're going to start. I want you to watch this whole video. I'm going to put together like 5 to 10 minutes of video stuff. I want you to watch the whole video. I know that it's the bony part of your shoulder, and you're talking about this muscle here, but I want you to stop thinking about muscles. I want you to think about joint function. And oftentimes it's much more complex than strengthening or stretching something. If it was that simple, then you could stretch something and it would feel better and never get worse and feel better forever. But that's just not how it works. So you want to think about joint function. When we talk about joint function, specifically at the shoulder, you have to have rotation. Okay? So rotation's super important. So when I talk about rotation, if you look at my elbow here, this elbow is connected to my shoulder. So I can rotate at my wrist and with my hand, but my shoulder doesn't actually do any rotating. So think about the elbow rotating. This is internal rotation and external rotation. And you don't need to know that, but think about rotation being the currency of shoulder health. If you don't have it, you have no shoulder health. If you can't rotate your shoulder, things are not going to work well. You do not own a shoulder if it doesn't rotate. You own something that looks like a shoulder, maybe has some shoulder tendencies, but it's not a fully functioning shoulder. So you have to have rotation, okay, and that's what we're going to work on. So what I'm going to show you is something called a CAR. It's an acronym, C-A-R. It's an acronym for Controlled Articular Rotations. You're not getting tested on all this, but it's good to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. A CAR is putting your joint, in this case your shoulder joint, and we're going to go over the scapula as well because they're really important. It's important to be able to put your joints, specifically, again, the shoulder and the scapula, through a full active range of motion. Active is you putting your hand over your head, not somebody else doing it. That would be passive. Still important, but active is going to be more important in this case for lasting change. So the CARs, before I even get into them, I want you to do these 3 to 5 times a day, 3 to 5 reps on both sides, minimum. You can always do more. Okay, so you can do these all the time. I get probably 20 to 30 of these in a day. My shoulders have never felt better. So when you start this, I want you to think about not moving anything. If we want to work on the shoulder, the only thing that's going to do that is if we isolate everything else and take everything else away. So when you're here, I don't want any twisting with your spine. I don't want any flexion or rounding, extension or arching. I don't want your head to move like an ostrich. I don't want any of this. And I don't want your shoulder to hike. I want this to be this ball and socket joint right here. You can squeeze your fist and keep your elbow straight. So what I like to do is, I'll show you this from a couple of different angles. I like to grab here, and that keeps me from twisting. And if it doesn't, you'll at least feel it. Okay? And a lot of this is going to be interesting to you because it's going to be a new sensation. There's a lot of novelty going on here. So just work through it, and if you notice something is twisting, then don't let it twist the next time you do it. So it's actually really powerful to film yourself. I might have you do that and send them to me so I can see them and give you feedback. So I'm going to start from the side here. I'm going to squeeze my fist because I like to do them that way. I'm going to what we call shoulder flexion. So I'm going to bring my hand up towards the ceiling without hiking my shoulder and without arching my lower back. So I'm here. Once I hit that block, once I feel like I have to do this, I stop. Remember, this is just the shoulder. From there, I'm going to rotate my thumb down, but at the elbow. So once I'm here, boom, I'm going to rotate down, twisting here. That's what I'm doing. So I come up, down, and think about reaching behind you and shaking someone's hand behind you as far as you can without turning or dumping forward. Finish at your pocket. Hold this rotation inwards. Extend back, and we're going to reverse it. Come up. Think about rotating the pit of your elbow up towards the ceiling, filling up a cup of water. Bring the bicep to the ear, again without shrugging, and then finish. That's 1 rep. So I'm going to do one without talking so you can see it. So that there represents the full capacity of my right shoulder in an active range of motion. I'll show you from the front here what this looks like. So here. Good. So that's a shoulder CAR. Those are the foundation of anything I teach. And it's the foundation of all movement. All movement requires joints. If you don't have joints, you're just stuck like this. So if you get your joints better and your ability to move your joints through a more fluid, active range of motion, then everything else gets better. Your weightlifting gets better, your jiu-jitsu gets better, all by addressing the root cause. Okay, I'm going to give you one more little variation here to play with to get some of this rotation, because I can already tell you that's going to be a tough one for you. So you're going to start with your arms straight out in front of you. Or I'm sorry, straight to your side. So if you can see from the side here, it's right towards you. Okay, so I'm not down here, I'm not hiked up, I'm just straight out. Now, when you're here, if you need to, you can squeeze a ball. I think sometimes that helps. Again, think about the elbow rotating. So the hand is going to rotate, but see how that doesn't rotate my shoulder? What rotates the shoulder is thinking about turning over the elbow. And what you're going to do is keep this high, and you're going to rotate one direction as far as you can without extending the back, so without doing this or without doing this. So I'm going to rotate my thumb down as far as I can, rotate my thumb up, and you're going to feel that shoulder joint, like a ball and socket joint, moving. That's what you want. In a ball and socket joint, remember, the currency of the joint health is rotation. So that ball and socket joint needs to move like this. If it doesn't, your AC joint's going to be all fucked up. Your elbows are going to be all fucked up because they're going to compensate to achieve the motion you're requesting. Okay? So what I want you to do is go through the regular shoulder CARs. You can do this with an open fist too, or with an open hand. Rotate down, behind you, to the pocket, keep rotation. Fill the cup up with water, bicep to the ear, and overhead. I want you to film these and send them to me. It's going to have to be a short clip because I won't be able to see a longer clip. I'm going to film the scapula video right now. And take a look at that. These are long videos, but like I said, man, if you want to make long-lasting change, it requires a little bit of effort on your part. You can't do this just by, you're not going to change anything by foam rolling or doing anything like that. Passive inputs, passive outcomes. Active inputs, meaning you doing the work, mean active results, which is exactly what you want.